because like we pointed out earlier, there are many parties, in the port industry. When a cargo comes in or a ship berths and these things are offloaded, it's not just customs, it's not just the terminal operators, it's not just MPA, there's also the consignee, who has some level of responsibility, So when we talk about port operations, clearance of cargo, what do you think should be the responsibility of an average importer? What should he or she do, or what should that company do to ensure that they have their cargo delivered to them on time? Because, we've said over and over that the ports are transit, but, so I would like you to shed more light to that.
See, what is best for anybody and will be cheapest, you probably pay next to nothing to terminal operator if you're able to take delivery of your cargo within 7 days.
So how would we achieve that? How would an importer achieve that?
There are consignees that are achieving that. So I believe if some consignees are achieving that, then others can also achieve it. If you are able to take delivery of your cargo within 7 days of arrival, you pay after, because the first 3 days is 0 naira in terms of storage. So all you pay is just the terminal handling charge, and the next 4 days is pittance. You see, so how to achieve that is immediately you've done your importation and your cargo is on its way to Nigeria. Begin your processes. Government has talked about 48 hours cargo delivery. Remember?
Yes.
So if you are if you do within 48 hours, you pay zero storage charge. Even if you do within 72 hours, if you're able to take delivery of a cargo within 3 days, you don't pay anything in terms of storage to anybody. You just pay the terminal handling charges, which is minimal, and you take your cargo and leave. But if you leave it for 21 days, for 30 days, then...
One of the problems we also highlighted from the side of customs, even though they are able already to have the inspections on, whether we would find these people go to inspect the containers or cargo is another ballgame entirely. So it still boils down to synergy. The importer cannot do it alone, and the terminal operators cannot do it alone. We all must agree to arrive at a port that is cost-friendly,
I agree with you. But also, let me point out something.
Okay.
In the entire system, only terminal operators' charges are regulated.
Okay.
Yes. Only terminal operators. So you see, people miss the point when the terminal operators' charges are fully regulated by the Nigerian Ports Authority. As a matter of fact, the present terminal charges have not been reviewed in over 10 years.
Wow.
Yes, whereas shipping companies are at liberty to
but that bulk becomes the responsibility of the Nigerian Shippers Council, who serves as our economic regulator, to identify the people at the value chain, and now begin to look at how to regulate pricing. Don't you think?
Let me tell you, for instance, truckers. 3 years ago, it cost less than 100,000 naira to move a unit of container, a TEU, a 40-foot container, within Lagos, from Apapa to Ikeja to Badagry, was less than 100,000 naira.
But 3 years ago, Apapa gridlock was not as terrible.
No, I'm trying to. But today, do you know the costs for the same service from Apapa to, say, Ikeja to, if you'll be lucky to get for 500,000 naira, and all going up north and the rest of them cost close to 1 million naira, all within 3 years. And you're talking of a Papa gridlock. The gridlock has affected everybody else.
Yeah.
Yet, terminal operators have not been able to even do a marginal increase in their charges. This is the same thing they charge before, pre-gridlock, post-gridlock, it doesn't matter. So it's highly regulated. Okay? The only thing people shout about is storage charges. And storage charges are deliberately put in place to discourage the use of the ports as storage areas so that we can have the efficiency we talk about. People should not be storing their cargoes in the ports. Take delivery of your cargoes. Within 7 days, you will not pay storage.
Well, when we have these kind of policies come in randomly, what does it do to the value chain? What does it do to the industry? Because, for instance, the review of the benchmarking of the dollar to the naira, and without proper consultation with parties in the value chain, when we have this repeat itself over and over. I recall there was a period where badge operation was used as a way to help ease the gridlock. And suddenly we had customs again slam, and slam badge operators and said they couldn't, operate. And they all had to take a trip to Abuja. And after meetings upon meetings, they, arrived at whatever mode of operation, they go with now. But the thing is, if we keep seeing government agencies slam the industry with policies that are not thought through, don't you think this will keep increasing the high cost of doing business in this port?
It certainly will. And yeah, it will.
Okay. I don't know. I've not seen any questions. We just had comments. No questions yet. Okay. Human element is one of the major favors. That's okay. Otumba said current challenges. Otumba Kunle Folari. He says current challenges should bring about innovation in the entire spectrum of the maritime sector and the port industry in particular. The Nigerian Customs procedures must be reviewed to bring new thoughts. Do you agree?
I agree, Sir Otumba Kunle Falana. Of course, these are very senior people in the industry who know what they are talking about. Thank you very much, Otumba, for that. I agree with you, sir, and respect to you at all times. To align, and I think that is also the allusion that Prince Chitu made earlier on about the human elements in the port. Too many people go to the ports. Even during the lockdown, everywhere was, people. For instance, you can, for terminal operators, even during the lockdown, we said it, you don't need to go to any terminal operator's office. Go online. Everyone has their own website. It's live, it's interactive. You can do your transactions online, okay? But not so with customs. For customs, you must go physically to the log.
And our window is taking forever to come. But let me take this comment from Prince Shitu. He says scanners won't solve the problem where discretionary powers of government agencies are exercised for personal gains. So even if we have scanners and they don't stick to that, then we still have another problem in our hands. So let me see if there are more comments. We have Abiola Posh. He says, archaic customs duty processes dilapidating port infrastructure remains the major bottleneck. Sorry, I'm at it again. There's another one from Otumba. Let me just read it up. Port economics is inclusive of port legal instruments, port costs, and port dues and charges are the critical factors that drive the competitiveness of the port industry, the roles of the key operators, I think he meant to say. That's from Otumba Kunle Folari. And let me see if we have more. I think that's Sorry, I'm trying to get your face back. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay. So that's the comments. We had a lot of comments supporting what you said. And in fact, let me just, you highlighted the transportation of goods. Let's just end with it. It's a sad development, but this study by SBM Intelligence says that, let me just read. They said shipping charges in Lagos are about 374 USD on the average, compared to the port in South Africa, which pays $247 for the same purpose, and Tema Port, $321. Then on terminal charges, it says that Apapa Port, on the average, you pay about 457, while at the Durban Harbour Port at South Africa, you pay about $180. And then at Tema, you pay about $280. Now on transportation, that is where I am going to. It says transportation of goods to local warehouses around, that in Lagos, it costs about $2,050, while in South Africa, this costs about $208. And then in Ghana, it costs about $285. Now, the summary is that in Lagos, in Nigeria, it costs over 10 times what it will cost in South Africa to move these things within the ports, But
That's
you
it.
said that there's a strategy, there seems to be a strategy around it, which is if you're an importer, you take your cargo within 7 days, and then you keep your costs at barest minimum.
No, but that doesn't address the transportation charge.
No, that doesn't address the
That's just to deal
No,
with
so if we're able to,
charges.
yes. But then do you think, well, I think you answered it, but let me ask the question again. Should we begin to also regulate transportation sector in terms of pricing? How do we deal with Apapa gridlock? Somebody has proposed to shut down Apapa Port for at least 3 months and do all the construction and reconstruction that we need to do. What is the opinion of the seaport terminal operators?
Okay, let me reiterate what I said earlier. I said only terminal operators' charges are regulated. And if anybody has facts to the contrary, they should tell me. Nobody else is regulated. So truck haulage costs are not regulated. Why are they not being regulated?
And until we do that, we will not get a port that is not expensive.
No, but you also cannot regulate them. In all fairness, if the truckers have to sleep on the road, spend 2 weeks on the road before they are able to enter the port because of bad roads, which government has refused to expeditiously address. So these are the issues.
So you're saying that we must begin to look at getting the holding bays for trucks if we have to regulate that sector. Government should begin to get holding bays for them and all that, so that we're able to regulate pricing of what they do.
Government should first leave it up to its own responsibility of fixing the roads. We all pay taxes. Government makes a lot of money from the maritime sector. From Apapa there, government makes a lot of money. You see that even in customs duty. You see that in what NIMASA rakes in every year. You see that also in what NPA rakes in every year and remits to federal coffers. Why is government not spending part of that money that it is making to fix the roads in and out of Apapa? You don't want to know how many people have died as a result of that road.
That's true. We've lost colleagues too.
Several journalists also. I remember the case of a journalist that a truck ran over and his intestines and everything, busted out of him. a maritime journalist for that matter a few years back. Government should fix the roads. Government is making money, a lot of money, from Apapa. Government should fix Apapa roads. It is not a favor to Nigerians. It is the responsibility of government.
I agree.
To fix the road. It is also the responsibility of government to help us develop other modes of cargo evacuation. It is, people started using barges to relieve the road, and then somebody sits in Abuja and then says he's banning the use of barges. It's absurd, right?
Somebody is saying, what is the arrangement? That's Abiola Posh. What is the arrangement between terminal operators and shipping companies on the return of empty containers? This has been pointed out as a major cause of incessant hike of trucking. The return of containers as they keep coming back. Let me just go so that you take the last comment at once. So, Folari Otumba says, a question for your guests. Post-COVID, every port, every cargo terminal will go on the fast economic and commercial recovery. What strategies should be deployed to make Nigerian ports and cargo terminal, recover fast? I think that's, it said the preferred destinations from the perspective of productivity, costs, and the environment of doing business. Otumba again. Wow. Okay, this is the last one. Prince Shitu says, government appetite for increased revenue is an enabler for personal enrichment. The next
Yes,
one.
please.
Can you hear me? Network.
Yes, please. Yes,
okay. So, in summary, what should government do? Or what are players in the industry supposed to do to ensure that we handle this?
First, permit me to address the issue of empty containers. It's a recurrent issue, and it's important to address it at this point. MPA has come out with a clear policy on the management of empties and the return of empty containers. No empty containers are allowed to go directly to the port anymore because we don't want to clog up the port with empties. If you take up the whole space in the ports, dumping empties there, where do the goods you are discharging, where would they be kept?
Yeah.
So MPA has said every shipping company, and please, people confuse shipping companies with terminal operators.
Yeah.
Shipping companies are different. MPA has said and the shipping companies are the owners of the containers, not terminal operators. Okay? So, and MPA has said all empty containers being returned to the port must first go to the holding bays of the shipping companies. And the shipping companies have been asked to mandatorily develop holding bays outside the port area. So all empty containers should go there. And then when the vessel that will be ready to take the empty containers out are ready, then they will be called in to the port. So if any trucker tells you, I'm on the queue because I'm waiting to take my empty container into the port, then that is, you should begin to interrogate his position.
Yeah.
So what to do going forward? First, let me also say that I foresee a severe plunge in the volume of cargoes coming into the country post-COVID. Already developed ports have started reporting as much as 30%, some even 40% drop in volume. And Nigeria is not going to be an exception. I believe Nigeria will even be worse off because of our peculiar situation. Petrodollar is fast disappearing. The economy going deep into recession and all of that. So, volume of importation, as we know it today, is not going to be like that again, maybe from the second half of the year. So, I think what will help us as a country will then begin to look at the other leg of trade, which is exports. We should begin to look at how to simplify our export procedure. Because it's not also that simple.
Yeah.
You will have thought that for a country that is trying to diversify its revenue base, you will have thought that exporting will be very simple, but that is not the case in Nigeria. Exporting is as frustrating as importing.
Yeah.
There was a time at Lily Pond terminal, they said they turned it to, before it was converted to a truck park.
Yeah.
It was converted first to export, I forgot what the name they called it, but something about export.
Yes.
Where you will bring your export, they process it, and then you take it to the port, then it goes to facilitate and fast track and all of that. And then Minister of Agriculture, Chief Audoibi, he came then to flag off the exportation of one container of yam. One container of yam at Lily Pond. About 50 cars that day, everywhere was shut down to come and flag off the exportation of one container at Lily Pond. After all the fanfare and the report and everything, they all disappeared back to Abuja. You will have thought that by the following day, that container will be in Europe. But that container sat at that terminal for 15 days.
Wow.
Purportedly awaiting customs processes, awaiting quarantine certification, awaiting NAFDAC endorsement, all those. Eventually, when the whole bureaucracy was ready to let it go, the yam had gone bad. So it was a useless exercise. So that's how they treat exports also.
Yes.
Apart from the frustration of the export even getting to the port in the first place as a result of bad road. Imagine you are coming with a container load of tomato from Kano. Think of all the frustration you go through along the road from Kano before you eventually arrive in Lagos. So when you now get to Costain, you get stuck for another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And all the tax forces in this world are feeding facts on you every day.
Yeah.
By the time you eventually enter the ports, you are frustrated. And then custom will now start its own. And NAFDAC and quarantine, everybody. You see, this is the issue. We need to simplify our processes.
Yeah.
It appears our governmental system has been set up to snuff life out of businesses. Which should not be. Shouldn't be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Bolaji. I'm sure that if we stay here, we'll just keep talking. But then, what use does it make to talk about woes? We just hope that the light shines, somewhere in the tunnel. Mrs. Obiagile, the former DG Chamber of Shipping, she's also stressed the need for synergy, but also points out that a lot of government agencies are not honest to one another. And until they begin to be sincere, this will not happen. She also said that, I think she mentioned that as much as we need holding bays, they have to also have basic amenities for the people who would use them. Then Otumba, and this is the final comment I'm taking because our time is up. In fact, I've been signaled over 15 minutes ago. So Otumba says, your guest comments on development of the export option is a strong policy that should not only be considered, but should be adopted as one of the post-COVID economic policies. We agree, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bolaji. I'm sure we'll have this again. We'll have it some other time again. And as I always do at the end of this show, I want to also thank Maritime Academy of Nigeria. So far, they are the only people who have said live conversations is something worth supporting, and they've given us their little support. So I also want to thank them and commend what they have done for us so far. Thank you to the elders, the veterans of the industry. A lot of them joined us today on the show. Thank you, Prince Shitu. Thank you, Madam Obiageliobi. Thank you, Otumba. Thank you, everyone who has joined us. I'm sure it's been an interesting conversation.